Hello, new week, new stuff to do. I'm back again on my alts plot. Um, I think we had kind of sorted out most of the bathroom fixtures. Just a quick recap. We did the tub and the toilet and sink, added a table, got the washer fixed, and kind of put in some rudimentary bits for the shower. I probably will still install like a shelf for shampoos and stuff, and then a towel rack out here. Um, but for the time being, we'll leave that be. In the bedroom area, we've gotten, we reworked this, did away with the exile floor divisions that we were tentatively going to use as shelves, and just built in some shelves from scratch using 2x4s. Installed some night tables with makeshift lamps, and of course the bed with the sleeping bags. We've gone ahead and removed one of the closet spaces. I think I'll go ahead and leave the one. Depending on how much more we've got that I want to add in, I may close this off or just do away with it as well, and just use like maybe set up some kind of little seating area or something. Not quite sure yet. And of course the kitchen, we've just got the basics: the sink, the cabinets, stove, little table, and refrigerator and cabinet. So it's coming along piece by piece. We're currently up to 621 out of 1,000. So I'm mostly just trying to get some of the big pieces down pat first, and then we'll decide what other extras we might want to include. I think with the door, I'm probably going to go ahead and leave it rather than get too complicated with myself. But what I may end up doing is adding an extra pillar just to kind of even this up a bit. I'm not quite decided on that. Again, it's just little, touch-ups that kind of thing. Today, I think we're gonna work here on the porch. Excuse me. First, I kind of noticed that these are unevenly placed, I should say. Excuse me. And what I wanted to check was if we can match this, the two up. I don't know if I need to, if I can, yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to lower that. Forgot to do the reload UI thing. Whenever you're on your own plot and then come to a neighbor's plot that you have roommate access to, it seems like you always have to do the reload UI because it doesn't recognize your privileges as far as manipulating any of the pieces. Excuse me. I was sneezing earlier, and I guess it's trying to still bug me a bit. Went for a walk this morning, and I think nature kind of had its way with me because I've been sneezing ever since we got back. Speaking of walking, for those of you that usually try to catch me when I stream a little earlier in the morning, that's probably not going to be something that'll happen too regularly because the schedule that I'm going to be running for the summer months, it'll be basically the end of this month, July, and probably most of August, is we're going to be doing probably our morning walk like around 7, and we go for about 40 minutes, and then of course I need time to clean up and catch some breakfast and everything. So 8:30 or so is probably going to be my earliest stream time through the week. Just a heads up for those that prefer to catch me earlier in the earlier hours. Okay, what I'm going to try and do is see if I can even these up without it sticking through. I just don't know if that's going to be possible. So we're gonna check it here. 597. Yeah, it looks. So we want to make sure we get that all. It just looked odd having it kind of lopsided there. The same way over here. And we'll just even it up with the ones on the other side. Just double checking to make sure everything looks about where it should. Okay, so what I was going to say is I'm wanting to install either a standalone kind of sofa couch thing, or maybe a a porch swing. And I kind of have a general idea of what a porch swing would look like. And I know we have the hanging chains, so that I think should play well enough into that. So that's what I'm going to attempt. The tricky part is figuring out the width of it, where the chains are going to hang from, so that it's even maybe on both sides if possible, and that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is, let's see, I'm just looking at the roof here, how it looks a little off, and maybe pushing that in a bit altogether. Dare I risk moving it? I think I'll just do it piece by piece. I think that'd be safer. I've just had too many troubles with moving it in a group, and it just kind of go bleh, and you know, don't want to do. So I'm just going to eyeball about where the center of this doorway is, and putting the center of the roof in the same general area. So 980, and then we'll just move its counterpart the same. And then again, these should be fairly easy to kind of line up because we know that it's more or less right along those edges, so that it kind of blends in. That's 911. Kind of weird. And then again here. And this is what I mean by just adjustments here and there. I could actually just get rid of this one. Yeah, I think that would work better. Just so I'm going to send that one to Craig. And this one was at 841. First, I'll get rid of the bottom one. Make sure it's the one that I want to get rid of. No, I don't want to delete it. So what was that? 841. And then just match this up. And hopefully it kind of got it in a good place now. I'm going to have to keep doing this too much. 1053. 24. And hopefully this isn't pulled over too far that it doesn't match up with that. That would be kind of a counter, but we'll see how it goes. If nothing else, we'll add one on the end. 1197. But I really think it looks better with the peak more or less in the center here than it, as offset as it was. Oh, 60. Yeah, so it's just enough. So that looks a little better. It's probably not exact, but it's good enough for me. It's a little less wonky than it was. Okay, so what we'll do is probably move this over just a little bit more so that the beam of this one kind of is hidden like it is here. Let me see how off that looks now. Come on, work for me, camera. I'll just leave it because it looks weird. Okay. So, swing set, porch swing. Kind of like having a couch with no legs hanging from there. So what we do, first we're going to decide what we're going to make it out of. And probably the 2x4s is the most logical because one, I have plenty of those to mess around with. So we'll just lay a few out here. And while we're at it, let's see, do I have any extra lamps? We'll just put this out here for some lighting because it is like dark. We'll just leave it like so. Again, I'll have to get a hold of some more of these hanging lamps. Craft me up a few more. Okay, so I guess what I need to figure out is like the width of it. And I'm kind of like using the pattern that's already there. This, I don't want it to be as narrow as this, so a little bit wider, I think, like so. But I kind of want to make sure there's plenty of room to kind of maybe walk on either side and maybe even behind it. So again, that's, you know, something you kind of like gotta just try out. So see, it's a little too wide to do that. So I'll knock it down just a little bit, just like so. Made it smaller and I didn't even want to go through that. 1.5. It may end up being as narrow as that. You have to walk through. I guess it's not a necessary thing. I just thought it might be nice. But yeah, I don't want to make it any more narrow than that. I think it's already almost right even with it. So then we pick about You know, it's probably going to have a slanted back, maybe even the bottom is slightly slanted. I'm not sure yet. But I think we'll start it right about here. And then of course I'm looking at the height of the seating. And the way I'll do that is take a look at this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another 2x4 down. Probably a lot of extra trouble that a lot of people wouldn't want to bother with as far as keeping things consistent throughout. You know, if I make a chair a certain size and certain height, I try to match that all the way across. Whether it's inside, outside, whatever. Just same way with sizes of, like when I use the WildStar plushies as little people, then I make sure they're all the same size. So what I'm doing here is I'm measuring about the height of where the seat is here, because I like the seating here. It feels comfortable. So I'm checking to see where that is. So that's 567 there. So we kind of want it to be similar here. You don't want your character feeling like in one place they have to like run and jump up onto the seat. You know, you want it to be comfortable, even if you're not actually going to be able to use it as an actual seat. I could get by that by maybe using the Pell bench instead of just the plank. But I was thinking about putting some cushions and stuff on it, so I don't know if that would affect it. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I think I will just go with this. Be easier. Kind of getting it squared up, and then I gotta think, okay, how wide should it be? Probably one more panel wide. Might end up being too wide, but we'll see. Yeah, it's supposed to be one of those big kind of comfy things. And then we need to have probably 3 more for the back. And I'm just going to make it a straight back first, and then we'll see what that looks like. It might look a little too uncomfortable. But I gotta get it kind of in the position I want first before I start manipulating the angle of it. What do we want it overlapping? Something like that. You know, if I wanted, I could leave gaps purposefully and then like add in some extra stabilizer, you know, wooden pieces. to like act as the parts that are holding the bits together, but I don't know. Would that be a better seating for like a picnic kind of thing, more than it would be here? Okay, so there we have the L shape kind of, and probably going to want to put maybe some armrests or something on it. I'm also thinking about what are the chains going to hook to? Are they going to just hook directly to the sides here? So maybe 4 of these. And rotate there. And let's scale it down a bit. Just to kind of give it a cleaner edging kind of thing. Giving it like some kind of definition here. Taking a little shape now, just a little. And then maybe the same for the sides here. Bring that up. So and I know I've put it more in the middle of the wood block for the top. For the bottom, I prefer it a little higher, having it almost to the edge of the bottom, because that gives it more of like an armrest kind of look than the other way. But you know, if you want to keep it, hey Samson, glad you could join us. If you want to keep it even for both, you know, that's just fine. You could like lower the one and then add a second on the bottom to make it more of an arm rest kind of look. But I think this works just as well, and it's fewer pieces, so. In fact, I may have to bring this down because I would like the bottom parts. Yeah. Good morning to you too. Middle one, check what the measurement was. 11. Okay, something like that. Now the fun part of whether or not I want to tilt it slightly at all. Angles are kind of like squirrely. I think I will just leave it like that rather than risk it, because I'm sure it's going to be kind of yoinky Just checking about. Yeah. Just checking about how the chains are set up. So it kind of looks like there's 3 pieces of chain on each side. It's got the one piece coming from somewhere like back here and the other one coming from here, and they join and then they form a single chain up to the top. That way when you sit in it, it just kind of swings back and forth. I'm just wondering if it looks odd if it's like too close to the back here. I think it'll be all right. I mean, it's just kind of like a fakey swing. It's not like it's an actual functioning one. That would be something cool if they added something like that where you could sit in it and it actually moves. But so that means we need 6 hanging chains. Change it to, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And oops, close that up. And we'll just pop them right here somewhere.
Better them than me.
You'll have to excuse Homer. He's been very much wanting attention this morning. Let me just set him up so he won't be gabbing. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is size this down a bit. I'm sure it's way too big. We're going to square it up so it's easier to move around rather than at weird angles. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of, I want them to kind of be like they're on the outer edge of these wooden parts, as if, you know, maybe they're hooked up to a little, I don't know what you call those things, a little hooky thing. You know, the hooky thing. I can't think of what I'm wanting to say, but anyway. Basically, I want to get the 2 pieces to join in the kind of in the center here, which is going to be tricky because they're going to be at different heights, and I think that's going to be weird with the what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one and put one in the center of the seat itself. And then I'm going to take it, if I can see, really difficult to get a good angle here. Come on, get up on the seat. So it just starts to sink in. And I'm going to make this think if I enlarge it. Yeah, it doesn't come, probably goes up. So this way again. Pull it down. Okay, does that look a little better? Yeah, that looks a little better. So you see what I'm getting at here shortly. What I'm wanting to do is using this as my point of contact for connecting the 2 side chains. So what I'll do is copy this one, and then we're going to drag it over here. Now, in order to get it kind of in the same position as this, I'm going to pick the height. The middle one. That's 744. Okay, and then what we'll do is bring it down and then kind of get it in the right. Remember, I just want it kind of on the edge there. And then put it back up at the right height. Okay, so now we have the two connector chains on either side. And I think by the looks of it, if I was to rotate this over, it should, yeah, it should meet up fine. So we'll put that one there, and then we'll copy, and we'll just drag it over here. That looks good. And then just one more time with the smaller chain here. And we'll put it kind of in the center, sort of here. What we'll do is let's see what size was it. 15. I think the 15 will be too long. It will end up stretching out past that, so we'll probably have to make it even smaller. But we shall see. So I'm just going to bring it over here. I'm going to say we'll put it at 10. Even 10 might be too long. First, I got to get this into the right spot. Far. Something like so. And then I have to tilt it. Again, I think it's going to be too long, but we'll try it and see how it looks. Just slightly. A little too small, so maybe, there we go. So yeah, I know that the chain links, they have a lot of varying size, but that's just the nature of the beast when you're using, when you can't give it like, you can't manipulate it in one, either height only or width only, that kind of thing. Some guildies waking up. And again, just gonna kind of push it over until it meets up. Kind of hard to see, just kind of angling the camera until you can see what you're doing. That looks about okay. There we have a porch. Like I said, it's, you know, there's some things you do to kind of get past the quirkiness. Now, if we wanted, we could add some pillows. Yeah, I think we got plenty of the pink ones that we could probably get away with. Drop a few here. We'll make it like a 3-seater. Well, I could, in theory, just reduced all of the chain to the smallest size, but that would mean I would probably need 2 pieces here and probably 3 here. And for me, when you're looking towards maybe certain things you want to splurge and just use as many pieces as required, but others you kind of, if you can get away with using fewer pieces, do it, because in the long run, you know, it all comes down to your end count here. And if I do the smaller size one, depending on your graphic settings, you might not see it straight away that there's a chain there. You have to kind of get close to it anyway. And at least with the bigger ones, there's, even the further you get, you can still kind of see the big ones. So there's indication there already. But again, like I'm saying, if I went with the smaller size, it'd probably just be like 3 or 4 more extra pieces on both sides that I would end up having to use. And I'm kind of steering clear of that in some cases. Other cases that I'm willing to kind of just go and see how it plays out as far as how many I'm using. And, you know, maybe I'll leave it. But knowing what all I still have to do, I still have to deal with what I'm going to do for the exterior. I don't know if I'm going to try and block off most of the land with some rock or something. If I'm going to add stilts, you know, how many stilts am I going to use? You know, probably for here, at least 1 extra here in the corners, and then I've got the main structure itself. How many of those, you know, is going to have stilts? I also, if I do keep with the stilt idea, then I have to have another layer of flooring or 2 just to cover up anything that might be sticking in at the bottom. And so I have to do that all the way across the bottom if I'm going to have it visible down here. And then, you know, why stilts? The original thought was there would be water in this area, and then having like a walkway of some sort leading from here to the teleport pad. But again, that's a lot of decor count that you're talking about, and I haven't even finished decorating the interior. So that's why I'm trying to do some of these bigger pieces now to kind of see about what that leaves me. And then that will determine just how fancy I get in other places. So I'd rather conserve the pieces here when I can see that it's workable. It's a little awkward with the different sizes, but it doesn't bother me as much as if I come up short and I can't cover up some of the stuff sticking out the bottom, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you have the decor count to splurge, yeah, sure, why not? Anything that, you know, makes it look a little more even and neat, I'm all for that. So just checking. I'm sure there's probably sticking out at the bottom of it. But mostly I was looking to see if it's showing through the back there. Yeah, I'm going to use a lot. That's about the easiest way to say it, because there's just a lot of stuff to do still. I haven't done any kind of wall hangings. I haven't filled up the shelves. I mean, why have shelves if you're not going to have anything on the shelves? And then I got to thinking yesterday, you know, well, how do I want to decorate the shelves? Do I want to use all pre-made stuff? Do I want to make my own kind of decorations that would be on the shelf? Yeah, there's a lot to go into. I mean, while the bathroom and the kitchen and the bedroom have some of the basic furnitures, there's still lots of pieces I could add. I'm just trying to decide, do I want to just line the bottom with pillows, or do I want to just put like a few like throw pillows on the thing? The only thing I hate about the pillows is when you try to angle them as if they're kind of propped and sitting on something. It tends to stick out funny in other places, and I'm just not sure I want to mess with that issue. So I'm just looking at maybe filling the whole bottom of it up with some pillows. Make it look like a cushioned wing. Just the seat though, not the back. And yeah, again, I have the pillows to play around with. So. Probably 2 more, which is nice. I like uneven numbers in a lot of places, and that seems to work well with 5. And you'll notice I've flipped it so that the pattern isn't the same every time when it's butted up against each other. I know a lot of people will keep it the same, but kind of like when you're working with flowers and stuff, you want to rotate them if you can, just to give it a little bit of difference. There we go. So now we have like a cushioned swing chair thingy. I'm gonna have to apply that a bit. A little more in the center. Something like so. Thankfully, there's not a lot of pink sticking out the back there. If anything, it's probably showing up more at the bottom. Okay, so there's that little doodad. Just something simple, you know, not too elaborate kind of thing. Okay, so let's see. Go back into the kitchen and think about this chair. Do I want to go ahead and leave them just the regular Marauder chairs, or do I want to build them myself? I think I'm going to see about getting me some paper. Got like tons of paper up here, but nothing blank. I'm going to see about making some Oran windows. Probably the orange ones, because I think the pink ones show the pink on both sides, but the orange ones show just the brown. And I think I'll make some little stools. Like maybe some 3-legged stools or something like that. So we'll probably need 2 of those there. Maybe a couple more for the bedroom area, so I'll do that times 4, and just use like the 2x4s as the legs. I've done something similar in an older build, but I think that'll be suitable rather than having that ugly chair there. I'm leaving the chair for now because again, I'm using it for measuring and stuff. But yeah, I don't like it. And again, I'm trying my best to kind of try and build everything or as much as I can from scratch without resorting to leaving it all custom, all pre-made. Okay, so let's go ahead and put one of those. Probably the best one is the metal ones, the ones that we used for oven grills. It's a little more expensive, but I like the look of it. And let's see, do we want that on this wall or this wall? I think this here makes sense. We'll just straighten him up, size him down. And again, when you're installing something like this in such a confined space, make sure you check to see if the collision isn't going to pose any kind of problem as far as being able to get in and out of the little space here. So see, I think that's going to pose an issue. A little awkward. Still can get in and have a look around though, so that's okay. What I could do is maybe size it down a little bit more. See if that helps. Doesn't need to be huge. I'm just going to put like maybe a bottle or two on it to give it a kind of indication that that's for like shampoos or lotions or something. Still can't get in. Wonder if we move it this way. Help. Yeah, that works. Okay, let's see if we can squeeze in one more. I'll turn it this way. So like a little shelf corner rack thing. The main thing I'm looking at is making sure it doesn't stick out through the wall here. That looks good. And it doesn't seem to affect being able to come all the way into the shower, which is an added bonus. So I think I got some, I thought I had some bottles, but I guess, let's see. Put that big of a thing there. I don't know why that comes in so huge. It's just crazy. These make good doorknobs, by the way. For anyone that's looking for another version of a handle rather than having, always the long handle types, these make great doorknobs. Granted, you do have to size them smaller than their standard small size, but it is worth it if you want nice brass doorknobs. In case you can't tell, I'm just kind of putting like a little flower pot there. We're getting to the point where I'm just kind of skipping around from room to room. Energy drinks. Can't go to sleep, I guess. what is it, that Red Bull stuff, or I don't know what kind of energy drink. I don't drink that stuff, so I drink bottled water. I go through a couple of those a day, I think. Anywho, let's see. I don't know what I opened that for. Let's see. We'll do a file, I think. I don't know. For some reason, they kind of look like shampoo bottles. Put a file. Oh, not there, but. And then. Don't want to use a green pillow. Green pillow, usually a lot of people like to use that for like the loofah sponge or something. I'll see about what other kind of doodads I can put in there to make it look a little better. Good. Yeah, I would assume the energy stuff would have a lot of sugar, so they'll probably add to the stickiness. Yeah, I don't enjoy spilling stuff. I dread, trying to clean my keyboard because I'm sure there's like crumbs of food and who knows what else inside there. Let's see. Just trying to get this lifted up a bit so it's not like. Oh, bad angle. These make good bowling pins, by the way. Oh, for crying out loud. A little bit more. Yeah, if you're wanting to open up a bowling alley, these definitely are. Do that, and then maybe a rolled. Oh, put that only on the cookware. Rolled sleeping bag thing for maybe a hand towel or something. I'll make it small so it's a little bit not so huge. That's so huge. Maybe a grandma could use a face towel that small. I mean that big. I think that's a little too huge. Let's try 18. That looks a little better. Don't want it sticking out the bottom though. Yeah. And then we're going to put a towel rack right out here. That way, as they're stepping out of the shower, they can grab a towel. So I'm going to do the thing that I mentioned the other day when I was doing the toilet paper rack of the Merg Dynamite being good for making, you could use it for a towel rack, or maybe if have like a doctor's office or a waiting room of some sort. I don't know, it's probably old fashioned, something I remember from my youth, but I remember visiting doctor's office and they had these like wooden, looks like dry racks, but they hang their magazines or newspapers over them, and kind of like a vertical storage kind of thing. And you could use that for, these for that kind of doodad. These also make good handles. Microphones. You could probably come up with all kinds of things for this. Excuse me, I got the hiccups again. I swear, streaming, I think, gives me like internal hiccups and gas and I don't know what. Just burping and hiccuping. A constant. Annoying. And embarrassing because nobody wants to see. Okay. We'll take that this way. Maybe and get it to quit going nuts. Okay, and then what I do is I just kind of extend it out, so then you have the little general rod kind of thing, and like general Zod. Okay, and my go-to thing is using the mattresses for the towels. I've seen people use curtains, the mattresses, sleeping bags, the open ones, like I've used for the bed. I've seen that. And of course, you know, if you have the luck of having one of those new towels, which I don't have on me, but you can get those from I think it's the Boxing Gym Fab Kit in Housing. You go and try your luck on that. You can get a hold of the kitchen sink and two versions of the towels. One's got like a carrot and a bunny on one side, and the other one's just a striped towel, I think. But since I don't have that on hand and I'm not particularly fond of that Fab Kit, I'm just going to go with the tried and true mattress towels. And basically what you do is you just get it flat on the wall there, size it down to whatever size you feel like it needs to be. We'll go with probably about 15. And what I do is not going to be exactly like how a towel should be, but going to be fairly close. We'll knock it down a little bit more. And then copy. And then you just bring it forward like so. And ta-da! There's your towel. Yes, it's got the little split here at the top, but you know, if you can get past that, it looks okay. If you made it bigger, you could probably get away with just using one and have it just kind of ride the middle of the rod there. But for this size, two seems better. It doesn't seem as thick enough for a towel. You could also offset the one in the back a little bit, like so. Because you know how you have the towels a little bit maybe not hanging evenly, and then just bring this one a little bit in so that it hugs the top a little better. There you have the double, so like one side is hanging a little lower than the other. There's your towel. Easy, simple, you know, you don't see a lot of people use it that way, but it's something I've used multiple times, so I often come back to it. Granted, it's two pieces as opposed to one if you actually get a hold of the towel, the pre-made one, and of course it doesn't have like any fancy pattern on it other than looks like stained up mattress. But you know, for something that's cheap, easy to get a hold of, that's ideal. Okay, so I think we got the shower sorted. I'm not going to go through the trouble of trying to get a hold of a blue flare or like water spray effect. I think that's more trouble than most people would want to get into, and it's certainly fairly expensive. So it's not not a good thing to get into. What I do think I'm going to do is I'm considering how we want to deal with the ceiling of this. Do I leave it exposed like that and not worry about bringing it up to the top? Do I just make this whole section flat? Decisions. I think let's just see how it looks. Flat, but then I gotta think, what kind of ceiling would I want? Oh, well, that's good. Less than a plat for a couple of them, that's not too bad. Especially since, as people use them often in their really cool looking builds, the more people demand them or are seeking them out, so that drives the prices up, especially if people are aware of it. They'll, kind of like with the umbrella trees. As soon as a lot of people started using those in interesting ways, that became like outrageous. Thankfully, they've come back down to about 4 plat. I think it's the cheapest I've seen it recently. Oh, well, still that's pretty good. I've seen them as high as, I think they got as high that I noticed about 8 to 10 plat at one time for the flares. Nothing as outrageous as the umbrella trees. Like last week or so, those went up to like 75 plat, which was like, crazy. But thankfully they've come back down pretty quickly to about the 4 or 5 plat. I did get a hold of one for like 1, I think, last week sometime. Just lucked out that no one else bid it against me because I didn't want to do the buyout. Yeah, and that'll come, that's always the case, especially as new items come out. Like when we first started having like the backpack and things like that, those were like 50 plat in the beginning, but now you can get them for less than a gold sometimes, depending on who's selling them. So, as things, when they first start to come out, you can expect them to be pricey, but as they start flooding the market with them, it drops down. But unfortunately, things like the blue flare and the umbrella tree, they're still relatively rare as far as drops, or at least those that do get them probably end up just using them. So, okay, let's look at the plants. I want something cheap and easy and something I can, probably get a few of. And that would be yellow flowers. They're pretty easy to get a hold of. Yeah, it's tricky how folks, I mean, the miniature golf course that I have in the front where I have the little flower beds, those are actually umbrella trees turned upside down so that the ground is elevated up to meet the flooring of everything else. It's actually, I mean, if you look at the teleporter, I haven't gone through the trouble of hiding the teleporter ground. So you can see that there's actually some height to the ground that's used for the flower beds up there. But that's about as fancy as I've been able to get with them because it's like the teleporter area. People's like, oh, you can hide that and do this and that. And I was like, I think it's too complicated for me because I haven't been able to figure out how to do it effectively and make it look nice. But I see people using, like the half tubes and stuff and making like a little silo on top of it and having it all boxed in. I don't know how they're doing it. It's just, I don't know. It's probably better that I don't know because then I'd be doing the same thing everybody else does. Yeah, Um, I know one, he built, I think his plots open like UAS, light hammer or something. He used a bunch of the trees to make hills on his. He's really cool looking. I'll probably be touring it. I haven't checked lately to see if he's finished decorating his house. If he is, I will probably do that in the next Exiles tour. Add his in there, but he's got all these nice, rolling hills and stuff, and it's, he's great at landscaping. But he says, but don't look at the edge underneath because you'll see all these trees bits sticking out. It just looks weird. But if you just look at the top of the surface, it looks pretty outstanding. Okay, trying to put my flowers in here. And again, with using flowers, you always kind of want to do it a little different, just to kind of change it up a bit. There, so put two flowers together to make a big tall bunch of, I don't know, sunflower, daisy looking things, just to add a little bit of color and differentness there. Probably could use some kind of cabinets here. Yeah, it was. In fact, I was trying to visit his other one because he had entered this month's CBDC with a clam for the aquatic animal thing. And I got his alts. I thought his alts were all named the same with Lighthammer, but apparently the one is called Light Weaver, Cerebella Light Weaver. And I kept typing Cerebella Light Hammer, and that was why I was getting the error that they didn't exist, because they don't. They have the wrong. I gave them the wrong name. So I'll have to check on his other plot. I think he's called it House on the Hill or something. He completely did the landscaping from scratch and built a little house as well, and it really looks nice. He was fussy about some of the bits because, like, I think he built a pond and he had trouble getting it the color he wanted. I think it's kind of more green than blue, but I told him, it looks great because it kind of gives that swampy feel, like, you're waiting for, or a lagoon kind of touch. But yeah, that's the one I visited, intending to visit his other one, and I got them mixed up because, you have guildmates that have like 50 billion alts, and it's hard to keep them all straight in your head. But that was just my fault. I got it messed up. But yeah, I'll talk to him this week and see about finding out whether or not he's done with it. Because a lot of people, they don't like you seeing their stuff when it's only partial. I do think his plot is actually open to the public. In fact, I'll write the name for you if you want to take a look. But some, especially if I'm going to like showcase it, a lot of them don't like showcasing partial bits. But some, they look awesome even when they're not finished. And really, a plot is never finished. There's always little things you can tweak and change and modify and improve upon. Okay, so I'm looking to figure out what kind of cabinets we might want to put in here. And I was thinking about the, what's that thing called? I think it's a planter. I want to see what the back of it looks like. Yeah, it looks a little unfortunate that it's got these little brackets here. Wonder if I could figure out a way to use that to my benefit. Excuse me. God, hiccuping again. Let's see. Turn that facing. Yeah, Poe's great at custom built. His favorite part is the landscaping. This particular build that he's got going on right now, I think it's the first time he's really tackled building a house from scratch. In fact, he asked me for some advice, and it was my idea that he I advised him to do the 2x4s on the ground like I did with this one, to help, you know, plan it out, because he was like unsure of how he wanted to do it. Now I know these are sticking out here, but I plan on putting something on top of that to cover it up, so I'm not too worried about that right now. Anyway, and he said that worked really well, that he was able to plan out his, you know, the layout of his house. It's like a 2-story place, and it's got like balconies and everything. It's really nice. I'm looking forward to touring it, kind of show off the work he put into it. Let's see, handles. What could I use for handles? Bandit Dynamite. Best pepperoni slices ever. Let's see. I don't think that'll show up very well. What was the other one? That might be too similar in color, I think. We'll try it. Maybe it's okay. All wood stuffs. Let's see, 10 maybe. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be very visible. I need something darker. So maybe a different pillar, like the Cassium will probably be better. It'll contrast better against the wood. Come on, pick the orange one. There we go. A little better. It's too small. Yeah, it is. It really is. Like I said, last week he was still talking about doing some more work on the interior. He's not going to the trouble like I am, because I think he's pretty much used up most of his decor count with the bits that he has. Because I mean, he put a lot of work into the landscaping. So yeah, probably I will look into. Let's see. I think we'll. What can I use? What can I use? What can I use? Wooden. I think that'll look a little funny. Maybe an exile shelf. No, I don't like those extra brackets. So let's see, metal. I'm just looking for something to put across the top here and down here to make some shelvings. Or maybe make this one another kind of a towel rack and this one a shelf. Maybe that one at the top. Probably a couple of them. Let's see. I'm determined to make this little thing work. We're gonna try and make it like it's supposed to be. Oops. Dang it. I had that just right and then I rolled it. So lift it up. Let's 80. Yeah, that looks alright. But yeah, his plot is on the list of the must-see homes that I maintain on the forums. Doesn't look like there's an actual interior, isn't it? Are you talking about his? I know he, when I last looked, like he had like the dining area set up, but he didn't have a kitchen yet, from what I remember. And the upstairs was empty. The only bits that he'd managed to do was, I think, the downstairs, I think part of the bedroom, and maybe the living room, like the foyer area where you come in from the front, and little bits like that. And he may not have worked on it since then, I don't know. But like I said, I've been waiting on him to finish it up, and he just hasn't mentioned anything about getting that sorted. Oh, I think he actually has a bunker there, but he's covered it because he couldn't think of anything to put in it, and I think he just wanted to skip that. Kind of like I'm considering here. I'm probably not going to put anything down in the bunker because I wouldn't know what to. I don't have any ideas off the top of my head to have it make sense as to why there would be a bunker here. Yeah, so that's what I'm waiting for, is to have him finish fleshing out all of the rooms. Because, like I said, last time I checked, he didn't have a kitchen yet, and the whole upstairs area was empty. So I think he's got a bedroom up there, and an office that he wants to put in, and a hallway for, like, I think there was going to be like, trophy displays or something. I'm not sure what all he was planning for there. Okay, let's do another Cassian pillar thingy. For those that don't want to use the Merg Dynamite as the towel holder, you can use the pillars. Those are just as viable. And with the Merg pillars, you have to butt two up against each other. With the pillar, you can get away with just one. So that's what I'm going to do here. Kind of an alternative way of doing a simple little towel rack. Basically, I'm just kind of squaring it up with the little bottom bits here, sort of. So let's bring that down a little bit more. No, it might be better if I picked something that was a little closer to the same color. Maybe the Chua version would be better. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this. And then we'll use the sleeping bag. Just like I said, another example of how you can use it as a towel. Let's see. Play. They just kind of warped all up, didn't I think it's because I'm moving it according to the world instead of the thing, and it's just wigging out. Oh, for crying out loud. No. Okay. Let's use that just by a little bit. Don't want it dragging the floor there. And again, probably what I'll have to do is use two of them to kind of make it match a little better. So there's the one, and then we'll do another one. Like so. Something like that. I don't want to offset this because if I do, then the other side, the flat, open flat part will show. I'm just wanting to give kind of a notion that there's a towel here. Might not be as fancy as counterpart, but there, that looks a little better. Okay, so now we have a towel rack and a little shelf and like some kind of like medicine cabinet or something. Nothing. So do we have any little doodads that we can put here? I don't have a lot of little collection stuff on this particular character. I may have to specifically either craft or purchase some because I just don't have a lot of little thinky stuff. Oh, I did get craft a couple of these to show what I was talking about with the effects. I'll put that out there to remind me. Portrait, rug, balloon. I don't think those belong in the bathroom. Staircase. Grass, tires. Glass, brew, bed. Oh yeah, nothing. Let's look in the accents. Maybe there's something there we can use. Or I may just put some more bottles or something. None of this looks like really bathroom specific. I don't think you have swords and stuff in your toilet. I don't know, maybe somebody does, but it just doesn't seem to fit, in my opinion. Guess I could put some toilet paper rolls or something up there for storage. That'll work. Those are some massive. So 57. Let's see. Let's just get another one. We'll build a little triangle, a little pyramid. So, like, put it there, and then put the other one on top. And then just rotate them a bit so they all don't look. There you go, so you got little specks in them. Not centered or anything, that's okay. Now, what I was talking about with the hover thing here was a lot of people use the effects, the bluish, sparkly something or other, to kind of give the water either an appearance of heated water, or that it's moving is another example. Since this is kind of built up on a box, I might can get away with trying to put some kind of effect in here. It depends on how much actually shows with the see, it doesn't really show at all because it's too deep. But maybe we can get away with it in the kitchen. I've used it for a few pond effects and for like the bottom of the waterfall. You notice my game's getting a little jumpy again. I think it's just hasn't liked being on for so long. It just starts lagging out. It's a sign. It can be streaming. Of course, this will have to be done pretty good. Yeah, I don't think it'll show up. Whoops. All that well here. Whoops. Hard to get it to sit just right because this crappy lag keeps. There we go. Yeah, I don't think you can really see it much. And it looks kind of weird because it's coming out the side here as well. But anyway, if you have a pond or something, then that's that works really nice. Same with like if you're having a pot that's actually cooking, the witch's brew is a good item to use, which I think I have one of those because of the smoke effect that it has. But also if you're lucky enough being exiled to have the cup of tea, that also has a smoke effect. If you enlarge it big enough, it shows up pretty good. And just a regular fire will give it. The fire though has the crackle sound that you have to be aware of. Yeah, it is a shame that we don't actually get, actual water bits that we can use. I imagine that is coming because I've seen several props out in the open world, like the basin, the Ocean Basin, that they have one of those that's filled with water that you can actually splash around in. And it looks like water. It's not just like a plate of glass or something. It has like ripple effects or whatever. And of course they have the pond fab kits. What's to say that they couldn't just give us the pond without all the added extras and let us put the extras in? Then you could use the pond in any number of ways. You border it off where you don't see the rock and just make a tub out of it, whatever shape you're wanting, and actually have that, animated water effect. But that's something that people have been asking for since early beta. Eventually I think it will come. I just don't know in what way that it will come, because there's probably any number of things that they could maybe give us like water blocks that we fill in the ourselves, you know, like we get a round space and have a round water building block and just insert it in, that kind of thing, maybe. I really don't know how that would work, but uh, I think it would be just a good start if they like made the swimming pool its own little standalone item, or the pond a standalone item. Just like people have been asking for, like having a way to insert a hole, you know, like with the Meteor. I mean, they are able to do it with the Fab Kit, so they should be able to do it, you know, just as a standalone decor that can manipulate the original plot, you know, rather than having it, you know, somewhat flat. You know, that's another thing. A lot of people want their plot to be perfectly flat rather than having these little nuances of ground. And yeah, it's just there's a lot of things they could include. I think the more basic building blocks they give us in a grander variety, I think the better. It's just a matter of getting them to include that. So since this is our kind of like little closet, I'm putting in some shelving here, door space thingies. I didn't think about it earlier, but I might could have got away with, let's see, 8. Trying to get it to, you know, not only work here, but in the bathroom as well. Making it, you know, be double time. Kind of like so, and having it be like the bottom shelf or something. Because it looks, you could put a handle on that as well and make it into a cabinet itself. But since we're using this one, we won't do that. We'll just use it as it is, sort of. What I'm going to do is double it up. And make it a nice big tall bureau, or I don't know what those things are called. And yeah, I don't know what I might want to put on these shelves. It's still a big question. I'll have to give it some thought and start, you know, jotting down some ideas of what I might want to put on the shelf. And think about, like, do I want to put a lot of pictures? If I want a clock, like say in the kitchen, like here, do I want to use the standalone Orin clock, like this one, or do I want to try and make my own? That's important questions to ask yourself. Just like, do I want to do some kind of window dressing for the windows, like adding some kind of curtains, or I don't know, making it look like Venetian blinds or something that are on there. I kind of feel like I don't want to. I kind of like them having them fully open, but for others it might feel like it's missing that because it doesn't have curtains on it. So let's quickly jot down some ideas for extras that we might want to include for these rooms. So probably maybe some more appliance, or like a toaster. Let me get a different piece of paper. I need a full big one. I've got all this junk up here. Now, it's not like I'm going to use every idea, but it's good to jot down some general thoughts. So like for the kitchen, we could go with a toaster or a blender, like what we saw in Stanos's place. Maybe a knife block has, you know, one of those, I don't know if you've seen them, it looks like a little wooden block and then you got your knife sticking in it. We'll probably add some dishes or something, like a set of plates and maybe some glasses and stuff here just to kind of fill up that. But since we've got these closed up, I don't have to worry about too much of that. And we did talk about the stools or the seating. Two of them for the kitchen and maybe two in the bedroom. A clock would be good, I think, for the kitchen. I don't know why, I just always assume that the kitchen is the one we have the clock. Maybe a little herb garden thing. Like, I figured could use one of those, the gutters, I think it is. Yeah, a long one. I've seen these used as bathtubs, by the way. You know, if you're looking for alternative ideas on what to use it. I've seen them also doubled up, make them look like piping. It's handy if you're looking for, you know, because we don't have a lot of like pipe features. I know we have the tubes and the cylinders that we can use now, but to get them small enough, you have to use quite a few because they're kind of short, you know, in length. So the gutters are a good alternative for those that are looking for extra piping. You just have to kind of ignore all of the extra little doodads that are stuck on it, like these little hooky things and stuff like that. But then, you know, maybe use that for like hanging wire bits on them or something. But, you know, it's just a thought. You're looking for something along those lines. Again, you know, use them as rain gutters as they're meant to be, or for here, I think I'm going to use them as an herb garden for the kitchen. And what I'll do is, you know, your plants tend to have some kind of dirt surface. For dirt, if you're doing a really nice square or rectangle shape and it's okay that it's flat, you don't really necessarily want it heaping dirt, then the Draken walls are really good for that. It's kind of like earthy, marbly look. I use that a lot for plant features. But another good one is the sandbags. And they're ideal for things like this where you want to fill it up. Let's grab a few. I've seen these used as like a freshly dug grave or filled grave, you know, having it kind of, we've seen them used as like sandbags for like boxing or practicing life skills or something. I've seen them used as the body of animals. I know of at least one that made a horse out of some of these. Made a rocking horse chair similar to the one that I did for a previous build of mine. And then you just kind of find the right size for your dirt to go into whatever, bit that you're putting it in. And of course, the idea is to not have it, sticking out the bottom or anything, but to have it fill up a good portion of it. And what I do, again, I like to rotate how it's done so that the sheet of the dirt isn't the same all the way across. It doesn't look so repetitive. And then once you have your two, you just alternate copying them and just line them all the way across. You'll see it looks like I'll need at least probably 2 more. Again, doing the uneven numbers ends up with 5 all the way across. I don't know why I like that, but I don't mind necessarily having 2 chairs, although at the moment I just have the one. But for something like this, it feels better to have it odd. So again, you just grab the alternate one and get over. Now the thing I'm going to have to worry about is this end here. I want it flat up against it like this one, so I'll probably have to double this particular one rather than using the other one because it's got that little tied end. You don't want that sticking out on it. So there's your little flower pot tray thingy. Just wondering if that's I should angle that a little differently. A little more even. I think that looks better. I know it kind of penetrates the glass, but I'm not too bothered by it. I'm just looking at the sandbags now because they're all kind of at the side. I need to move them over just I'm not too concerned with how they look on the back here. I could, if I needed to, push it so that it's butted up against, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. If you wanted to be perfectionist about it, you could change it up, but I think it'll be all right. And then just move this one. Thought I did. Apparently not. Oh boy. I blame the laggy. There we go. There's your dirt. You know, you could pretend maybe that's some kind of food or like a trough of animals or something, but we're gonna pretend it's. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the plants. If I can find the section of plants, and we'll just see what we got here. I obviously really would prefer not to use anything that's already potted because the pot will stick down below, because I want it to be like it's growing out of the dirt, so, rather than a pot. So we need stuffs that isn't already sorted. Now, for those that want to skip this whole custom build, you do have the blue pod planter. Works great. You know, you put a couple of them side by side. You can use that on the outside of windows, like, you know, have your little flower pots hanging out. Use it inside, or the herb garden thing. You know, it all works nicely. But for this, I want to make my own. I'm just seeing what I have at hand. So straight away, I see that we've got the WildStar flower. That will work good. I'm just gonna put 3 of them in. Again, I'm working with odd numbers. I like that. Let's see. Notice you got the purple star flowers and then you have the violet star flowers. And there is an actual difference between the two. The purple star flowers, while it looks kind of the same, they actually have 3 pieces. Small, medium, and large. The violet ones, just 2. So there is a difference, but I like the more fluffy ones. Let's see. Take a look here. Now. See about grasses. These would be nice, but with it so wide, the way they come in, if you shrink them down to fit that, you won't see nothing. It's little nothing there. Maybe a piece of that, a tall. Let's see, what else we got? Bushes, I think. See what we can come up with that looks nifty. I'm not sure I want to use another purple. I'm looking for things that are a little different color. Maybe a couple of these. I'll put in 3. Maybe those are supposed to be like chives or onions or something. I don't know.